Good morning. Welcome to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook, along with producer Alden Iwani. I'm your host, Ed Nunez. Today's special guest is Carmela Garcia, an official with the Albuquerque Basketball Officials Association, and she also officiates soccer as well. And Carmela, welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you on.
Thanks for having me, Ed. I appreciate it.
Carmela, you and I have been talking a lot about, I told you I officiated high school basketball for 22 years. It's still something that when I see calls on the court or I see something, I don't think it ever leaves you. You're like, well, that was a good call. Or, you think to yourself, right? You coached first, though. You played basketball, right, too? You played, and then you coached. And I think one of the things about the Albuquerque, the NMAA as a whole, they need more officials, and we'll get to that talk later. But what is it that led you? And we're going to talk about soccer officiating too. But what is it that led you after your coach? You coached over there at Valley with Coach Harbin, I believe, for 5-6 years. And Coach Harbin's a very good friend of mine. But what is it that led you after your coaching career to start officiating?
I think, like most officials, an extra income. I needed another source of income, and I started out actually umpiring softball. I started out with that sport, and my second year, I decided I wanted to do basketball and soccer, and I absolutely fell in love with it, and I just decided to take that on instead of coaching.
When you're a coach, and you coached for a while, you had your own team. Were you the varsity assistant, or were you the JV coach?
I did CT. I started out CT, moved up to JV, and then varsity assistant. So I coached basketball for 7 years, and I actually coached soccer for 4 years.
Okay, so you were involved in both sports. Now, you probably had your thoughts about officiating when you were coaching, right? I know I did. When I coached at Highland, many years ago, I would say to myself, "Gosh, man, these are that's a bad call." I was pretty hard on some officials back in the day, but I remember too when I started officiating, it's a whole different venue because you're not playing and coaching anymore, and you have to stop thinking as a player and as a coach. Talk a little bit about that, how your approach was from coaching when you're kind of maybe complaining about a call that wasn't made, and all of a sudden you've got the shirt and the whistle on, and it's your responsibility. Talk about how you changed your approach.
It's definitely a different point of view, perspective. You are told to see things differently as an official than someone up in the stands or even a coach and a player. And it just, seeing that different perspective definitely changed my perspective on, why is this call made, or if someone's complaining about that call, the reason behind it. And some coaches don't understand the reasoning behind our call. Like, why does this official have that call when it's, it should be this official's call? They just don't understand the reasoning behind why we have our calls.
Okay, one of the things that Dana Pappas and I, the former head of officials, it's Zach Atkinson now, but it was Dana Pappas, and we were talking about that. Everybody in row 6 has a very good call or a very good view of any call that's supposed to be made, right? You're going to hear it. But I think when it comes to 3 officials, and it took me a while to get the nuances of 3-person officiating in basketball and whose area is what, and to hold your whistle, to be patient, right? A block charge, maybe start in your area, goes to the lead, and boom, you got to hold, right? Got to hold and make sure the signal. So we don't want to blarge a charge and a block, right? So I think there's so many things that you just talked about there, and a lot of people watching from row 6 don't understand that. And so you're going through a lot of camps right now. You've been to 2 already, I believe. You're going to another one. What have you learned this summer? And some of the instruction you've received has just been amazing, and you're going to get some more. Talk about what you've learned so far, and you're not done yet, this summer in the camps that you've gone to.
Yeah, I've been to some great camps with, amazing clinicians, Final Four clinicians. Main thing I learned is, you have to use your voice. You have to be a presence on the court. If you're not a presence, it's not going to help you. You have to use your voice. You have to have a loud whistle. You just have to be, a whole other person. something that I had to get out of my comfort zone was I have to be loud. I have to make myself known on the court. And
yeah, go ahead, keep going.
No, it's with all these camps, it's a lot to take in. Like you said, I've been to about 3 camps. I have 2 more, and it's a lot to take in, but it's definitely instructional, and I'm enjoying it every chance I get.
That's a good point where you just mentioned you have to come out of your zone. I'm loud naturally. I've got a loud voice, a big voice, right? So when I'd make a call, white 55 baseline, right? Boom. So that wasn't a problem for me. But for someone who's not, I'm an extrovert. There might be introverted people, right? I saw an official this year, and I'm not going to mention his name. I told you when he made a call, it was like beep, like a half tweet, and I'm like, okay. I talked to him after the game. I'm like, what do you got, man? What do you got? Because if you mentioned a loud whistle, now do they tell you a loud long whistle or a sharp beep? What do they tell you? Because it's important for people to understand some of the things that officials do on the floor.
I mean, a sharp whistle would do. I mean, sometimes if they don't hear it once, you got to do it twice because it does get loud. And there, as you just have to come in strong with the whistle.
And make sure that, like you mentioned, you know what you're calling and come in strong. I'm sure some of the things that you're learning, you've already been to 3 camps. You're going to one in August, and that'll be 4. And your goal was to get picked up by a conference, and you did. Last weekend, you got picked up by the Lone Star Conference. Congratulations, by the way. That's awesome. Not everybody's going. I was just talking to someone about this. Some people are happy doing just high school, right? Some people want to go to that next level, right? Not everybody does. But your goal was to make it to the Lone Star Conference. And talk to us a little bit about what the clinician said to you when you got that call that you're going to be calling at the Lone Star. You mentioned they want you to see more games and more plays. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I got to meet with the assigner himself, and I got to talk to him one-on-one, and I definitely have the look, the run. The thing is, I just need more experience at the college level just to see more plays being put in situations to get comfortable with. So I'm just definitely happy to get just picked up. It definitely means a lot. It's a start.
Well, the Lone Star Conference, I'll tell you what, me being the voice of Western New Mexico, that is some good basketball on both the women's side and the men's side. I don't think people understand how good that conference is. It's very competitive. So I think, again, you're a budding young official still that is seeing some good things already, and clinicians, when you say D1 clinicians, I don't think people understand the ones you're talking about. And you're going to a camp, a pro camp in August. You're going to a camp from a guy that's ref in the NBA. Back in the day, Dana Pappas, I remember when she brought in Billy Kennedy to one of our seminars. And Scotty Rossetti, a former official, asked Billy Kennedy, how do you put up with an Allen Iverson, man? How do you put up with that, right? And I remember Billy Kennedy he told him, he said, hey, tonight I'm not going to put up with that, Allen. Billy Kennedy has been in the NBA for what, 20 years,
Yeah, Billy's a great guy. I got to meet him a little bit. I've been to the Donnie Nunez camp. He's always up there. So he's a good guy.
So these are some of the clinicians you're working with. And I think it's important to note that D1 officials that have worked Final Fours, that have worked several conferences, right? So those are the kind of instructions and clinicians you're getting. And I think that kind of experience, plus you're seeing basketball outside of New Mexico and soccer. I don't know if you're going to any soccer camps this summer, but you're seeing competition outside of New Mexico, getting reviews from people outside of New Mexico. You got a trusted circle here in Albuquerque, right? You've got Nate Acosta, Jess Martinez. There's been a lot of people that have mentored to you here, but I think it's important to get other people to get a look at you with a fresh pair of eyes.
Yeah, of course. And with the people I have here, Nate, Jess, Cliff has helped out a lot, Rebecca, all these people here, they have definitely started with me, and they have guided me to what camps to go to. And that's how I'm getting exposed to basketball outside in Mexico, because with them, I think if I didn't have them, I wouldn't know where to go. So there's a bunch of people here that I definitely thank for helping me getting where I am today.
And I'll tell you what, you work with a lot of different officials too. And someday, you know what, we mentioned we need more officials, period, right? The NMAA down officiating around the country is down in all sports, right? So the NMAA certainly needs more officials. We're always saying we need more women officials. You mentioned Rebecca Scotero, Lisa Romero, Yolanda Osuna. There's Martina Holloway. There's a lot of very good female officials as well as male officials in the ABOA. But we've always said that we need more female officials. We've been saying that for a long time. As a female official, sometimes you're going to be on a crew with two men. What's your biggest challenge sometimes in working games where, you think coaches are going to come down on you maybe a little harder? What's your biggest challenge?
I don't know if it would be a gender thing. I just want to be a good official. I don't want to be, because I'm a woman, that changes things. I just want to be a great official who is professional, who carries herself well, who is just, out there and just takes care of business with my partners. Personally, I never experienced being on the court because I am a female coming at me harder. I just think from a coach's perspective that if they don't agree with the call, they're just going to go at you, whether you're male or female, and they're going to, voice their opinion. But as a female, I'm just trying to do what I can, just pave the way and, for the next generation of females. And that's what Rebecca and Yoli, Lisa, Martina, Carissa McGee, when she officiated, that's what they did for me. And Kayla Peterson, when she was here, they're all great female officials, and they're still in the game doing what they do best, is a great official.
That's a good way to put it. I'm glad to hear that it hasn't been a gender thing. You're right. Any coach that doesn't like a call is going to, right? It doesn't matter who it is. We're going to take a break and be back with Carmela Garcia on the sports desk after these messages.
This game was scheduled for 9 a.m. and we rescheduled it to the afternoon. But can Dalton Shilka stay alive? Oh, that one's a little long. And that does it. Game, set, and match in favor of Cameron King.
2-2 pitch. That's well hit. It might be trouble. No. Sliding catch and right by Noah Morlock.
That's a hit past the pitcher. And just like that, we'll have another runner come in. And wow, just like that. La Cueva strikes again as Melania Macias comes in.
Oh, 2. Line to second for the double play. Leadoff base runner erased. He was straying a little far on a line shot to the shortstop long, and he turns and tosses it to Padilla for the double play. What?
So the second serve from Boson is in. Cross-court action going on at this point, and it pays off for Boson.
Make a play. There is the bunt, popped it up again. Long run, Cooper, and he's going to make the play. Catchers showing off their leather in this one. I'm out of it. In off the hands, right at Karras. He's going to short hop, scoop that, and turn the double play maybe. Yes!
Whoa.
Double play! Karras let that one drop, and then a really tough hop. He certainly did that on purpose.
Wow, that's a shot. Wow, that'll do it. Oh my gosh. Man, a shot to center field over the fence for Genesis Jaramillo. And that's it, man. 10-0. Bears with the hot bats right now.
He is bunting. Got it way in on the kitchen there. And a great diving catch by the catcher, Trujillo.
What great play, what great hustle by Trujillo right there.
That's well hit to Cooper. It is high. It is deep. It is showing an in-flight movie. Home run, David Cooper.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26. I'm your host, Ed Nunez. Today's guest is Carmela Garcia, a basketball official with the Albuquerque Basketball Officials Association. Also officiates soccer, and we sure appreciate her being on today. And I got a quote from somebody that knows you, Carmela. I always think of her as a big referee, a referee like she referees like she's 6'2", and that's definitely a compliment. That's from Nate Acosta, who's the new regional assigner for the Mexico Activities Association. I had a good chat with Nate, and that's one of the things that he said to me about you, and I think that's a pretty good compliment.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Definitely, I've always been told that you're 5'1", but officiate like you're 6'2", and I'm working up to that.
Yeah, and he said that, and there's a picture of you in your soccer garb, and you're on the far right there. And
yeah.
Carmela, talk to us a little bit about, I'm a basketball guy, man, and I get sidetracked in hoops, and, I'm sorry about that, but talk to us a little bit about your soccer experience, because, we want to know about that too. Talk to us a little bit about your time on the field as a soccer official.
Yeah, so I played high school soccer. I played club ball soccer, and I actually wanted to go play college soccer, but I chose basketball. I started officiating soccer when I started basketball back in 2019, and it's been a fun experience. Same with basketball. I have some good people in my corner when it comes to soccer, some people that are willing to help, and I've been fortunate to do a couple state tournaments, and it was a great experience.
There's a great shot of you. When they say you've got the look, you do. You've got the look. You look good. You run well. They said, and that's part of it too, right? There's certain people. There you are. That's a great shot of you right there. And of course, you don't backpedal, right? There's so many things that people think about officiating that don't really have an idea. And you do look the part for sure. But one of the biggest. That's a great shot there. It looks like it's St. Pius, I believe. And
that was at Tasker Arena.
Oh wow, yeah. So.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that experience of Ralph Tasker Arena. going down there to do a boys game, right? No,
I did the girls Carlsbad Hobbs district championship game, and that
talk
was
a little bit about that. Talk about that.
It's always been a goal of mine to officiate in there. I played in there my senior year. We played Hobbs, and just the atmosphere is amazing. And I went down with, a great crew. We did well in the game, and like I said, the atmosphere of the crowd, the players was just, it's a different feeling. And I stayed after and watched the boys game, and it was sold out gym. It was fun.
You know what? You've participated, on the floor, right, as an athlete, and I've had games like that, right? You go in there, it's sold out. They don't know you. Nobody knows you. You're from another town, but the atmosphere, like you mentioned, and your adrenaline, and people don't get this, right? But before a big game, you got butterflies too, right? You do. I know I did.
Yeah.
You see the crowd, and then when you get it's like a player when they get their first basket or first hit or first hit in football, they feel good. First kick in soccer, right? The butterflies go away. Once you get that first call in, then they disappear, right? But I'm telling you, I did the Hobbs Clovis State Championship in 2002, right? I never adrenaline fueled, right? I never ran that fast before, and I never ran that fast again. That was all on adrenaline, and it was exciting. And I think sometimes people don't understand that, yes, officials get excited. Yes, officials get nervous. As you mentioned, officials, sometimes when we make bad calls, they'll stay with us. We'll wake up with them, right? We'll wake up with them. And but talk about, you mentioned a little bit earlier when we were on break about sometimes the misconceptions that people have about officiating and the time spent. NBA officials, Carmela, and you know this, after the game, have to go back to the hotel room and break down film for 2 hours, right? At least 2 hours, maybe more. So talk a little bit about the misconceptions and the time spent. People think that you're getting paid for these camps. You're paying. You're paying for a chance to get better. So talk a little bit about maybe some misconceptions that people might have about officiating.
Yeah. So, like you said, the time spent. People don't understand after a game the next day how much time we spend on film. Easily 2 hours. We're within our group. We send plays and ask officials, hey, what do you have on here? What could I have done better? And you can sit and break down one play for a good, 10 to 15 minutes and talk back and forth on different parts of that play. You dissect that play. Another thing that people don't understand is how much time we miss with family. We miss birthday parties, we miss graduation, holidays, because we're on the road, officiating, and we do want to get better. Like you said, going to these camps, we're not getting paid. We pay people so we can get better, so we can try out for whatever conference it may be. And we're getting feedback so we can apply it to the next camp, and the next camp we have to pay as well. I'm also part of another group that I spend, a lot of time with, this group called Crown Refs. We're, sharing plays. We're talking about, dissecting each one. We're meeting on Zoom every week over play calling or over financial stuff, whatever we can to get better. And, it's a great group. And, with the NMAA, ABOA, we do the same thing, talk about plays. How can we get better? And it's just, people don't understand how much time is spent behind closed doors to get better.
You do that in soccer as well, I'm sure.
We have meetings
in soccer, but I think that's one of the misconceptions, right? I remember the pre-games that we did back in the day when I was an official, and I'm sure you still do them. If you ever had a pre-game with Les Williams, and, Les had quit officiating long before you did, but I'm telling you, man, that was thorough. It was over every point, right? And I was just telling Nate Acosta this, sometimes I just had to call my game. I had to do call my game and not be paralyzed by so much information. Everyone's got a different pregame approach. And Les, I'll tell you one thing, man, covered it from A to Z. He really did. But I think that's important that people know that, right? The meetings, we used to have meetings on Monday, and I think the officials have been Zooming in now through the pandemic, right? So that's changed a little bit. But you go over casebook, right? You go over situations, you do talk, you communicate, you try to get better. And I think sometimes, it's an emotional game, right? It's going to be a block charge or, people are going to say that call was missed. Well, we're not going to get them all. We've always said that, right? But I've always said this too. If you're a team, if you're a coach, control what you can control. Control your missed free throws. Don't turn the ball over, right? I there's a lot of people that want to blame officials, but it's important to know you're trying as best, and it goes for 98%, 99%, of the officials are trying to get better. They don't want to blow games. It hurts them when they make calls that may have decided a game, and sometimes it comes down to that. It does, right? And we don't want it to. We want to let the kids decide the game. We've always said that. But there's times that we have to make those calls, right?
Yeah, it's, another thing, like you said, sometimes we beat ourselves up over a call, right after the game. We can't worry about it right then and there because it'll affect the next call. Just like an athlete, if you miss a layup, you can't worry about it because it's going to affect the next play. So we have to, go back after the game and think about it and go home and think about it. And people sometimes don't understand that we really do beat ourselves up over a call.
You got to move on, though. You got to move on. Just like when you coached, you told a player if they missed a layup or didn't move on, we got to move on to the next play. So the same thing as officiating. Carmela, before we wrap it up, you're a basketball official, and you've got on into the Lone Star Conference. You do soccer. Tell somebody that's listening, right? We've got some officials, potential officials listening here. Why should they come out and officiate with the New Mexico Activities Association or even the YMCA or county or city? Start somewhere. Why should they come out and do that?
You get paid to exercise. You meet great people. This is, brother sisterhood that you'll never forget. And, I just think once you start getting comfortable with officiating, you're, like I said, going to meet great people. It's going to be a fun, hobby, whatever you want to make it, a passion. It's fun. And, I don't think that'll ever change.
The brotherhood, the sisterhood that you mentioned, you never forget that. There's, I haven't officiated in 10 years now, but I've still got a lot of friends from my, officiating days. And those friendships are never forgotten in the camaraderie. Again, only officials can kind of understand what you're doing and how you're doing it and why you're doing it. Other people that don't officiate are going to say, well, the ref's this and that. They don't understand. So when you mention that brotherhood or sisterhood, I fully understand that. Carmela Garcia, we sure appreciate you joining us today on the Sports Desk. And again, you're on your way to a very nice career. You're very young still. And so we appreciate you joining us today, and good luck in basketball and soccer. And again, we'll catch up with you very soon.
Thank you, Ed. It was an honor. I appreciate it.
You bet. For producer Aldi Iwani, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk.